Hi Drama Llamas, we've been waiting for it all week. We have Miss Rebecca Gossett here, the stage manager at the Springer Opera House right here in Columbus. You had questions, she's got answers. Rebecca, we're so happy you're here. Let's dive in.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Aaliyah asks, when did you first know that you wanted to be a stage manager?
Well, I would say first was when I just started college. And I sort of wandered down to the theater department where I was already going to school, and I just kept helping and doing different things. And one day I just said, I want to do this, and I don't know how I want to be part of it. And I had a professor say, well, you're organized and you like to, help make things happen. So I think stage management. So I said, okay, let's try it. And here we are.
Claude asks, how did you get your job at the Springer?
Well, I was very, very lucky, very blessed, because as a Columbus State University student, I was able to intern at the Springer. And then I was about a month away from graduating, and I knew that I was about to go to my next step. So I emailed the director, or actually I emailed the person who had my job at the time, he was the production stage manager, and I said, do you have a studio show you could throw my way before I leave Columbus, something? And he was like, what if actually you took my job and I go do something else?
Annalise wanted to know, how long have you been working at the Springer now?
This will be my 6th season since 2014, so yeah, it's a long time. Don't have any plans to leave here.
Tatum asked, how do people audition for a play at the Springer?
Great question. There's a couple different ways. Usually for someone your age, you would go through the Springer Theater Academy, so you would have to have spent at least a summer or maybe come to our fall classes. You would have had to have been a student at the Springer in some capacity. And then we hold auditions usually May, somewhere around there, where we bring you all in and let you audition for us. It sort of depends on what kind of actor we're looking for, but for in your case, it's definitely that, go to Academy and then sign up for an audition.
So what she's saying is go to the Academy.
Go to the Academy.
Micaiah had a very good question. He asks, as a stage manager, when problems come up before a play and you only have so much time, how do you fix that problem on the fly?
That is a great question. I really can't stress enough how good of a question that is, because
really is.
That is one of the hardest parts about the job. Because for any other job, if someone doesn't show up or there's some sort of big issue, you figure it out, but you got time. With a show, that's not the case. You have a hard deadline. You got 7:30 or 8 p.m. whatever time curtain goes up, and you have to figure it out.
You got butts and seats.
Yeah, I'll answer that by giving you a little bit of an example.
Please, go.
I was doing a production of Sister Act a few years ago, and one of my actors called me and said, I'm so sorry, but my regular job isn't letting me go in time, and I'm not going to make it to the show until at least intermission.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay, let's figure it out. And I went and talked to the other actors who were part of the scenes that he was in. We delegated his lines among those actors, and we sort of wrote it into the play to make it make sense. So when he showed up in Act 2, for a couple scenes, they referred to him as New Guy. And we just, it really is just about the show and what the problem is, and you just think creatively, how can we continue to tell a story like this? I've never had to stop a show or not do a show because of a problem like that arising. So hopefully that continues to be the case.
Shemaya wanted to know, has someone gotten injured during a show?
Oh, yes. Actually, your teacher here was in a show that we did that had a couple of injuries.
Oh boy.
Not her, thankfully. But we did opening night of a show called West Side Story. An actor who was in the show, who also happened to be the director of the show. He walked on stage, and his first step onto the stage, he hurt his ankle and couldn't dance for the rest of the production. So again, we just had to think creatively and
That
say,
makes sense.
yeah, okay, how can we motivate this character to leave stage when the big dance numbers come along, or maybe because he's so cool, he doesn't dance like everybody else dances, things like that. Because there's always a way. There's always a way to make sense.
Always. Sage has a very interesting question, and I could answer this too, but she wants to know, have you ever experienced any paranormal events?
Ooh, you probably have more answers than I do, because I don't know if it's because I work in technical theater or I work at the Springer full-time or what, but the ghosts tend to leave me alone. If they're there,
They know she means business.
yeah, the one thing I have that might go in this category is I've called a show before in our tech booth that has a very heavy door on it, and I always leave that door closed, for sound and things like that. And there have been times where I look over and that door is wide open.
Lots of you guys, we talked about what a stage manager does, but you were curious if Rebecca's ever been on the other side of the coin. Do you ever like to perform?
I used to. I think everybody that is in theater performed at some point. That's
Sure.
how you get into it.
Of course.
And occasionally I will do some things for our theater academy where we sort of perform as a group or something for the kids. But really, it's not really what I like to do. There are some things, like, it's really hard for me to memorize lines, and I do get a little bit of stage fright. Even though I do have some training in acting, and to be honest, I'm not bad at it.
Not surprised.
But it's just not for me. I like being the support for it more. It's much more fulfilling to me to be able to help actors do their job well.
Durando does ask, does your job help with stage fright?
Oh, great question. Weirdly, yes. Because even though I'm not typically performing on stage for an audience, I do have to talk to the cast, which can be, upwards of 50 people, sometimes more than that. And I'm in charge. I'm the one that they know that I'm in charge of their safety, of their job, of lots of different things that will affect them. And so I have to speak with confidence, and I have to reassure them that everything's going to be okay when something goes wrong,
Hiron asks, what is your favorite part about your job?
Oh my gosh, what a great question. That's also hard to answer. Honestly, working with the actors, it's my favorite thing. I love the actors that I get to work with. I love helping them figure out what they need to do and what they need. And it's a really hard job. I think a lot of times people think, acting is super fun, you get to be somebody else and you get to put on fancy costumes, but it's very difficult to know all of your lines and to know choreography and also be in the moment, but also remember the audience there, but also remember your next cue. It's so much you have to remember.
Sure is.
Yeah. And I think people underestimate how difficult that job is, and so I really take a lot of pride in being the support.
So to close our interview out, Kieran wanted to know, what advice would you give to someone who wants to do what you do?
Oh, good. Oh my God, so many of these are such a great question.
I know, right?
I would say, honestly, this is cheesy maybe, but have fun doing it, because especially in a job, any kind of management job you do in your life, where you're in charge of other people, you feel a lot of responsibility, and you feel like anything you do is being criticized by other people, and that can kind of weigh on you, and it can sort of make you upset at the people you're working with because you feel like they have a lot of expectations of you. I think we all feel like that sometimes, that people are expecting things of us and we're not sure we can do all of those things. We're not sure we can meet those expectations. But you just have to remember that what you're bringing to the table is special and important, and that's why you're there. And you just have to enjoy those moments and enjoy that you get to have that experience. Because for me as a stage manager, every show is special, every actor is special, and if I don't appreciate that, then I might as well go work in a bank, right?
Right.
there would be no point in doing this job if I wasn't able to have some fun with it. So.
Absolutely. Well, Rebecca, we're so glad that you took time out of your busy life to answer our questions. Guys, come see this lady in action. She does amazing work at the Springer, and see you in class. Bye, guys.
Thanks.